The Honda Ridgeline has always been the driving man's choice when it comes down to mid-size pickup trucks. Its great comfort levels, high-quality interior, and class-leading handling combined with fantastic MPG made it a perfect mile muncher. However, the Ridgeline undoubtedly started showing its age, which is why Honda just decided to completely redesign it for 2024. To see what's new for Honda's pickup truck, join us as we take a look at how the all-new 2025 Honda Ridgeline shocks the entire car industry. A completely new platform. The outgoing generation of the Honda Ridgeline has been heavily criticized in the past 2 years for sitting on a rather outdated platform. The Ridgeline has shared its platform with the last generation Honda Pilot, which is now almost a 10-year-old platform. However, with the release of the new Honda Pilot, it was only a matter of time before Honda redesigned its pickup truck. As a result, we'll be getting a completely different car, both mechanically and aesthetically. First of all, when it comes down to the outside of the car, the Ridgeline now relies heavily on the design language established by modern Hondas. This includes much more subtle details, and a generally smoother and sleeker approach to creasing, allowing for a much more elegant design, which is something Ridgeline desperately needed. The front of the car, while not outright borrowed from, will most definitely be heavily inspired by the new Pilot. This means that the hood of the car will lie almost completely horizontally, making it appear slimmer and longer compared to the dated slanted design of the current generation. Furthermore, the side profile will also be changed and seemingly stretched compared to the current generation, which in turn allows the truck to be more practical than it used to be before. Finally, due to the increased size of the Pilot, you can expect the Ridgeline's bed to be considerably larger than what it used to be, while also allowing additional cabin space. As a result, the Ridgeline will be far more competent as a truck, while also remaining just as competent as a car. However, with the change of platform, you can also expect differences that are more than skin deep, as the new Ridgeline will have an expanded choice of powertrains. One of the biggest complaints for the outgoing Honda Ridgeline was the choice of engines, or to be more precise, lack thereof. The old car came with only one engine, and that was a 280 horsepower 3.5-liter V6. While this unit was an extremely dependable and very well-built workhorse, it left a lot to be desired, both in terms of fuel economy and in terms of performance. Thankfully though, the newest generation of the Ridgeline will, from now on, be offered as a hybrid. Since most of its peers have already gone the way of electrification, Honda will most likely offer a less powerful, but considerably more fuel-economic drivetrain for the Ridgeline. There is still no info on the engine. However, certainly, the 2.0-liter hybrid drivetrain found in the CR-V won't be used, primarily due to its exponentially low power output of just 207 horsepower. Instead, Honda might go for a larger displacement and more powerful 4-cylinder engine, or just simply turbocharge the formerly mentioned unit. Speaking of turbocharged engines, Honda might also add the 3.0 V6 turbo found in the Acura MDX Type S, which puts out 355 horsepower and 354 pound-feet of torque, making it more than ideal for either a performance-oriented version or something that requires a bit more pull. That said, Honda has yet to confirm this powertrain. What is certain, though, is that the 3.5-liter V6 will be updated and will remain the standard engine option for the Ridgeline. And while there will be no evident power output changes, the new engine will be more refined and more economical than the previous generation. According to our projections, both the hybrid and the 3.5 V6 will be offered as 4-wheel drive and all-wheel drive variations, whereas the 3.0, if it gets released, will be AWD only. Furthermore, instead of the previously used 9-speed ZF automatic gearbox, the engine will now use a more refined 10-speed auto, ensuring better MPG figures, improved performance, and a smoother drive. However, a smooth drive is nothing without a well-built cabin, which is why we're thrilled to announce that the all-new Honda Ridgeline has a considerably more modern interior. One of the biggest downfalls of the previous generation Ridgeline was, honestly, its lackluster interior. No matter how good the truck was on the road, and it was great, it was let down by its dated and boring interior, especially when compared to the new Chevy Colorado, Ford Ranger, or Toyota Tacoma. Well, that is, thankfully, no longer the case, as the all-new truck will feature an interior that annihilates its competition. The new model utilizes the same basic interior as the all-new Honda Pilot, with only some minor differences to it, so that it fits in better with the truck's character. As a result, you can say goodbye to the unnecessary bunch of buttons found on the center console and dashboard. The AC is now controlled by a set of tactile dials, allowing much faster and much more ergonomic manipulation. Furthermore, most buttons and commands you would expect to remain bound to physical buttons, such as heated seats and drivetrain controls, are. However, most other, more peripheral commands have, thankfully, been moved to the all-new infotainment screen. This screen sits proudly atop the dashboard, amplifying the feeling of sportiness and modernity that the new Ridgeline is going for. Furthermore, the digital gauge cluster has also been swapped out for a much crisper and far more usable unit, which helps elevate the interior even more and adds a touch of class to an otherwise utilitarian vehicle. The seats are also supposed to be noticeably more supportive and softer, improving both driver engagement and comfort. Finally, would you just take a look at the dashboard? It's just a perfect blend of sportiness, class, and understatement, which is exactly why we adore it. It offers something for everyone. However, what good are those improvements if the ride quality gets compromised due to the truck's larger size? Well, don't worry, as despite being larger than before, the all-new Honda Ridgeline offers even greater comfort and driving dynamics. The outgoing generation of the Honda Ridgeline has been revered as one of the best riding and driving trucks on the market. This is thanks to its unibody chassis, which grants it great composure through the bends, while also allowing it to be much more comfortable than its body-on-frame rivals. Well, the all-new version is even better than the previous one. You see, the new Honda Ridgeline supposedly has softer suspension dampers, allowing it to iron out minor bumps with even greater ease than before. Furthermore, the increased mass of the vehicle also helps out with dampening bumps and potholes better than before. That said, the shock absorbers and springs are similarly configured to the previous generation, allowing the car to retain the same driving characteristics that it used to have. But more importantly, the interior is now noticeably more spacious, allowing the truck to be a far better people carrier than it used to be. And while the truck most certainly won't be on the same level of off-road capabilities as its body-on-frame peers, Honda has improved its off-pavement performance drastically, especially for the more rugged trim levels, such as the Trail Sport. However, such a drastic number of changes seldom results in a reduced or even the same price tag, which is why we have to ask, will the pricing change? The Honda Ridgeline has already been considered a rather pricey pickup truck, starting at around $41,000. Thankfully though, you shouldn't be worried about pricing getting a significant increase, as the previous Gen Pilot and the current Gen 1 both had a rather similar starting price point. As a result, we believe that the base model Sport will start from a high $41,000. Now this might sound like a lot. However, for the money, you'll be getting 3-zone automatic climate control, a leather-wrapped steering wheel, as well as a whole heap of safety features. So essentially, virtually all you need will be there. AWD is a $2,100 option, which is kind of a bummer. The RTL will start at around $44,500. However, we'd avoid this one if we were you. Sure, you will be getting leather-trimmed seats combined with a larger 9-inch infotainment screen and some extra exterior features. However, we'd argue that this isn't worth the added $3,500, as you'll have the same car functionally, especially since the car will still be FWD as standard. The Trail Sport, though, is a sight to behold. Its price will have risen compared to the previous generation, now costing around $50,000. However, for the money, you'll be getting a jacked-up suspension, steel skid plates, as well as a more off-road oriented drive. If you've got the money, you should go for it. And oh, we shouldn't even mention that this model will come with AWD as standard. Finally, the equivalent of the current gen's Black Edition is set to cost a little bit less than $55,000. And despite being fully optioned, we'd argue against going for this one. Sure, you'll get the largest 10.2-inch touchscreen, as well as a bunch of other goodies. However, that, in our opinion, isn't worth the added $5,000 over the Trail Sport. Finally, the other two drivetrains, The hybrid and the turbocharged V6's prices are yet to be announced. In our opinion, the hybrid will be an option for most models. On the other hand, the Turbo V6 will be reserved either for the highest trim levels, or it will be reserved for an all-new performance-oriented competitor to the Ranger Raptor.